This chapter here is kind of tricky. Okay, the first part about aggregate demand is very straightforward. Okay, but when it comes to the second part, aggregate supply, it will become kind of tricky. All right, so please make sure, okay, you know, if you have anything that you don't understand during this part, please ask. Okay, yeah. And before we start the new chapter, have you guys watched this video? Have you guys watched it? Yeah. This video here, I wouldn't say is a very interesting video because it's more like history. Okay, but when we are, yeah, Ryan, please watch it. Okay, yeah, you still have time to watch it, but don't watch it now. Okay, you still have time. You can watch it during the weekend. Okay, but watch it. It's going to be good for you when we talk about aggregate supply, the tricky part. Okay, so I suggest you to watch it to know more about different economic schools of thoughts before we go to aggregate supply. All right, yeah, so do watch it. The link is in the other PowerPoint slides. Okay, so you can find the link from the other PowerPoint, right, from the last PowerPoint. So watch it. All right. Okay, so before we start it, once again, just trying to remind you that we have 6 chapters in macroeconomics. And see, when you think about macroeconomics, do not think about the chapters individually. Okay? So macroeconomics is just a very, very big chapter. Okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you realize it when we were talking about business cycle, because just one business cycle, you can talk about economic growth, inflation, balance payment, unemployment, yeah, and then you can extend it to some policies maybe. So yeah, it's just one very, very big chapter. Okay, so make sure you do understand everything. Okay. This one. This one? No, not yet, not yet. I will. Okay, but yeah. Let me finish this first, and then I'll upload. Yeah, the PowerPoint. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, yeah. So yes, it's just, yeah. Look at this. Treat it as a very big chapter. Okay, do not study all 6 of them individually. Okay, when you are studying one chapter, you should think about the other chapters as well to see if there is any connection. Okay, otherwise, you don't really understand macroeconomics. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's one hint that I can give you. Okay, so yes, just like this, right? So yeah, let's go to the chapter. So yeah, we are going back to demand and supply. Okay, but this time it's going to be different. We are talking about aggregate or total. Yeah, what you call total demand and supply. Okay, in an economy. So take a look at this. When we were studying microeconomics, okay, this is what we know, right? When we talk about demand, it is related to the price and quantity demanded, and supply, obviously, price and quantity supply. Okay, so when we draw the diagram, you will see the axis. We will use price and quantity, okay, to show the relationship. But what about macro? What about macro? What do you think? In terms of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Yeah. So what will be the x and y axis? Do we still use price level? No. Do we still use price and quantity? X is GDP. Okay. What about y? Any idea? What about y? So now we are talking about total demand and total supply in a country. Anyone? Any ideas? Nope. Okay. All right. So see. Think about this. Okay, if we are talking about total demand and supply, okay, so we are thinking about all goods and services in an economy, and we try to come up with a price for them so that we can show it in the diagram. So what do we call it? Like an average price. What do we call that? Price level. Yes. Andrew. Yes. Yes. So price level. Okay. So yeah, it makes sense if you think about this. So that's why your y-axis is going to be price level in macroeconomics when we talk about aggregate demand and supply. And why? But why? If you talk about the x-axis, we have to use GDP. Well, or more accurately, we use real GDP. But why? Think about this. Before, when you were talking about micro demand and supply, it was just about one good. Okay, let's say a pineapple bun. Yeah. But now, when we go to macro, it's about the quantity of all goods and services. So how do you quantify all goods and services? Right? It's not possible. When we are trying to compare units, you have to follow the rule, right? Like apple to apple. Okay, yeah, because that's how you do it. But now, because the quantity here is for all goods and services, so you cannot use the quantity to identify that anymore. So that's why when we go to macroeconomics, it becomes the real GDP. Okay, we use dollar value to show the output. Okay, when it comes to aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, so you will see the difference here. Okay, yeah, so it becomes dollar value now. It is not units anymore. Okay, right. So that's why you can say x-axis is real GDP or real output. Okay, right. So yes, so let's go to aggregate demand. Okay, so now we know the XY axis for macroeconomics when it comes to AD and AS. So let's talk about AD. So AD, so this is the definition. Okay, we just talk about the definition, right? So basically, it's the value of total demand for all goods and services in the economy. Okay, yep, at different general price level, right? Yeah, just like that. Okay, right? So it's very similar to demand that you have learned for microeconomics, but now it's the total demand for all goods and services, right? And we change from a single price, like the price for that one single good, to the general price level. Okay, right? And here's the question. So when we think about total demand, where is the total demand coming from? Can you just name 4 parties where the total demand comes from?
The consumers.
Oh, okay. Government, consumers, firms, and investors. I would say firms as well. Yeah, foreign. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, you guys have the right idea. That's good. Good job. Good job. But see, take a look of the chat box here. So now we summarize. We can summarize. We have 4 parties. Okay, that the demand is coming from. Does it look familiar to you? All those 4 parties. When did we see them before? GDP equation. Yes. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Okay. So it does sound familiar because it's just like the expenditure approach for GDP, that equation. But here's another question for you. It seems to be the same as GDP. So when you look at this, AD equals G plus I plus G plus NX, or X minus M. right? It seems to be the same as GDP, but it is not the same. It is not the same. The idea here is just like what you see in microeconomics. Okay, the GDP. Okay, GDP means the actual expenditure in the economy over a period of time. Let's say a year. Okay, but when we talk about demand and supply, that one is just a planned expenditure. Okay, so it's not the actual expenditure, right? So if you use the logic from a demand and supply diagram, you know that demand and supply diagram is just a plan. At the end, that consumer or that producer, they may not trade at that particular price and that particular quantity. It's just a plan. It's a schedule. Okay? All right? So when they refer to GDP, that's the actual output. That's the actual expenditure that an economy has over a period. But the AD is just a plan. It's just a schedule. Okay, so this is the difference that we always have to realize, and it is the same as what we can see from the micro demand and supply. Okay, when we look at the diagram, it's just a plan. Okay, even when we go back to microeconomics, it's just a plan. At the end, they may not use that plan. Okay, they may not have the same output as what the plan shows. Okay, right? So that's the difference. Okay, yeah. So do not confuse, right? But the elements, they're the same. The elements, they're the same, right? So yeah. So yes, so now we know the components of AD, and that's why before I told you expenditure approach, that is one very important method that you should always remember, because it is actually connected to the AD, okay, the components, right? Okay, so every time when something change to one of the components, the AD will change. Okay, right? Yeah, it makes sense, right? So yeah, but before we go to that, let's take a look of this. So when we were talking about microeconomics, when we talked about demand and supply, yeah, we have two kinds of changes. Okay, so one of them uh, is because of the price factor. Okay, yeah, when the price is changed, then your quantity demanded will be changed, or your quantity supply will be changed. And we have the same concept in aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, so now let's go to the first one here. Yeah, when the price level is changing, because now we know the y-axis represents price level. Okay, so when the price level is changing. Okay, yeah, you see that? This is what we have known from GCSE. The AD, the shape of the curve is just like a normal demand curve. Okay, it's downward sloping. Right. So take a look at this. Y-axis once again, it's the price level, and the x-axis is the real GDP, or you can call it real output, or national income, because they're the same, right? They're the same. We have three methods of calculating GDP. So yes, okay, and AD, right, comes from all four components, all four demand components. Okay, right. So now we are going to try understand why, when the price level is changing, the real GDP will change. Okay, we're trying to understand the relationship, okay, between the two axes first, and then we will talk about the shift. Okay, yeah. So let's go to here. Let's go to here. So, what do you think? Why the AD curve has such relationship? Can you give me any examples? 'Why? Let's say here, when the price level is decreasing, you can see the y-axis represents price level. Okay, it's downward sloping. Right? So take a look at this. Y-axis is the price level, and the x-axis is the real GDP. Okay, it's downward sloping. Right? So take a look at this. Y-axis is the price level, and the x-axis is the real GDP. Why? Let's say here, when the price level is decreasing, you can see People, they demand more. They prefer more output. When the price level is decreasing, they prefer more output. So why? Any examples? Anyone? Come on. So now we're trying to understand the relationship. It's just demand is no, it's not that simple, right? It's not that simple. So think about this. Why, when the price level is decreasing, we would prefer more output? Any reasons? When the price level is decreasing, what would happen to us? What would happen to the consumers? You know. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they demand more, right? Rex, that is not true. Okay, so we are trying to make the same assumption, ceteris paribus. Okay, um, so I have to produce more. So the firms produce more to meet increase in demand, right? Well, Rex, look, that is not true. Okay, when the price level is decreasing, uh, you would earn more. Okay, technically. Okay, right. So but Ray got the right idea. So take a look at this. Okay, so we have three reasons to explain this. First of all, this one here, the wealth effect, that will answer Rex's question. So when there's a decrease in price level, there will be a higher purchasing power. Why? Why is that? Anyone who can give me some scenario to explain this? So when the price level is decreasing,
Things
we
are
actually.
cheap, so you can buy more of it. So your money seems like you can buy more stuff.
Oh, that's good. Is that Leo?
Yes.
Yeah, Leo, very good. Well done. That's it. That's the answer. Okay, so take a look at this. So you see here, before when you were buying goods and services, it will cost you $10. And let's assume you have a fixed nominal income, let's say $100. Okay, but now let's say the price level is getting less, so now it's decreased from 10 to 1. Okay, before you can only buy like 10 goods and services, but now you can actually buy 100 of them. Okay, so when the price level is getting less, you will prefer spending more money. Okay, so you are going to expect when the price level is decreased, then your purchasing power will increase. And because of that, you will consume more. You will spend more money. So there will be more consumption and investment from different parties. Okay, from different parties. Okay, all four of them, maybe, or some of them. Okay, so this is what you are going to expect from the first reason. Okay, from the first reason, right? So does it make sense to you? Yeah. So that's why you will see, because of that reason, when the price level is decreasing, okay, you prefer more. You prefer to spend more. Okay. Yeah. That's what you are trying to see from the diagram here. Okay. When the price level is changing, your spending will be changed as well. Okay. Yeah. Right. So that's one. That's one. The wealth effect. Okay. And let's go to the second one. The second one here is about interest rate. Okay, we call that interest rate effect. So you see here is a scenario here. A fall in price level will cause the interest rate to drop. Okay, which will increase the demand for money. Yeah, that makes sense. But why, when there's a fall in price level, the interest rate will fall as well? Why? Any ideas? So now, yeah, the case is when price level is falling, so the interest rate will fall, and then we know, yeah, and then we know the indicator of low economic growth. It may not be. People to purchase more. Discourage from investing. Ray, it should be the exact opposite. When the interest rate is getting, lower, it's easier to borrow money. It's easier to borrow money, right? Um, yeah. So, wanting to stop saving money, we'll borrow more. Yeah. Michelle, that's that's the result. Okay, but I want to ask, why a fall in price level will cause a fall in interest rate. So yeah, so let me explain it here. Okay, it may be a bit complicated. Okay, um, yeah, it's about the value of money. Yeah, the value of money decreases weight when price level is decreasing. Yeah, yeah, the value of money should be increasing. Okay, okay, Ryan. Okay, let me explain it. Okay, let me explain it. All right, so take a look at this. When you look at this, then hopefully you understand why. Take a look at this. So when people, okay, so you can actually use this concept to support you, okay, right? So when the price level is decreasing, now your purchasing power increased, okay. So with that being said, if you have a higher purchasing power, or you can say if you have a higher income, okay, you can spend less on your expenditure, and the rest of the money you can put that into saving. Okay, but let's say if you have a higher price level, okay, so your value of money will decrease. So let's say the orange box here, okay, you are buying the same amount of goods and services in both cases. Okay, so if the second case happens, then you have to spend more of your income for expenditure, and at the end your saving will be less. Okay, so we make assumption. Yeah, here we buy the same amount of goods and services. Okay, but when you have higher income, then after you have bought all the goods and services, you still have more money for saving. But if you have less income, then you are going to spend a higher proportion of your for your expenditure, and you have less room for your saving. Okay, and then we can come up with this. When this is the case, so this one applies to the first case here. Okay, when people they have more saving, what will happen to the bank? When people have more saving, what will happen to the bank? They will lend more. Yeah, because they have more reserve to lend money. Okay? If that's the case, if the supply of lending increases, what will happen to the interest rate? Wait. Drop. Okay, Michelle. Michelle, it's just a normal supply and demand concept. Okay? When you have more supply of something, okay, then the price will drop. It also applies to interest rate. Okay, when you are the bank and now you have more money to lend, of course you want to lend more to different people. So how do you attract those investors? So you are going to make your interest rates lower to attract more people, because you as a bank, you earn money, you earn profit from lending money. Okay, so that's the case. So if there's more saving, there will be a bigger reserve for lending. okay, from the bank. And because of that, they are going to lower the interest rate. And because of that, when the consumers they're consuming, when the investors they are trying to invest on businesses, they can enjoy a lower interest rate. So they would prefer consuming more. They would prefer investing more, okay, by borrowing more, okay, at a lower interest rate, right? Okay, so that is, you will see the same result, and that's why people they will consume more, and people they will invest more. Okay, yeah. So is this part clear? Okay, yeah. So yeah, so you can see, right? It's like a very big process. Okay, so even though when you see, oh, okay, so when there's a fall in price level, there will be a drop of interest rate, but it's way more than that. It's way more than that. So this is the entire process. This is the entire process, and that's why when you see a fall in price, there will be lower interest rate, and there will be higher demand, for consumption and investment. Okay, yeah. So that is the second reason. All right, everyone got it? Yeah, cool. Okay, right. So let's go to the third one. Okay, the third one is more complicated. Okay, let's do it. So the third one here, yeah, that will answer the question we had last lesson about balance of payment. So take a look at this. So let's say this is the case as always, right? When we have a fall in price level, okay, there will be more exports, and yeah, of course, exports, right? NX, and therefore there should be some increases in consumption and investment. But why, when the price level is falling, there will be more exports? Any idea? When the price level is falling, there will be more exports. Why? Your exchange rate is lower. Why? Yes. Okay, yeah. So you all are in the right direction. The exchange rate, okay, there will be some depreciation of foreign currency. But why there is a depreciation in foreign currency? Why? Okay, but why? Ryan, you're not answering the question. Appreciation in your own country. But Cheryl, but if there's appreciation in your own country, then there should be less exports in general, because your currency value is getting higher against the other countries, so your exports will become less attractive. Okay, uh, yeah. So that's why I said this point here is more complicated than you think. So Ryan here, the value of goods cheaper for foreign goods, the free share effect. My mouth said, okay, all right, yeah. So, okay, yeah. I would say you guys are 50% correct. Okay, but here, let me explain it. Okay, let me explain it. Yeah, as I told you, it's a bit more complicated than you think. So here, well, you guys are in the right direction, but why the currency is depreciating? That's the question. And take a look at this. Take a look at this. So when there's a fall in price level, it will lead to, yeah, this is what, yeah, we know that. Yeah, so now we know that, right? Interest rate will fall, okay? Because of the second point here, okay? When the interest rate is falling, okay? So think about this: if we are in Hong Kong, and well, if I am in Hong Kong, let's say, okay, and you guys are all in the U.S., all right, and you guys are all thinking if I should make some investment, let's say a financial portfolio in Hong Kong. So are you going to do that in Hong Kong if you see there's an interest rate falling? If you are the U.S. investor, you are trying to invest on some financial portfolio in Hong Kong, and you see the interest rate is getting less. So Andrew, I think you have make some confusion. Okay, so this is something else. Okay, yeah. So for interest rate, it can be the borrowing interest rate, or it can be the return interest rate. Okay, and right now we are talking about the return interest rate. So let's say you want to buy some shares from Hong Kong, okay, or some bonds from Hong Kong. And if you're buying some bonds from Hong Kong, right, usually this is what bonds will give you. Every year they will give you some interest, okay, some bond interest, okay, yeah. And if you are and now you're thinking if I should buy some bonds from Hong Kong, but you see here the interest rate is dropping. So does it make it more attractive or less attractive to buy that bond? Yeah, it's going to be less attractive. Okay, so that is the reason. Okay, so when the price is falling, it makes the interest rate to fall as well. And at the end, too, the foreign let's say financial investors, they don't want to invest on the assets in Hong Kong. And at the end, okay, not so many investors they are going to invest on like shares or bonds, and at the end, when they are trying to invest, yes, so there'll be less demand for your currency, because you think about this, when they have to invest in your financial products, they have to convert their currency. Okay, so right now you are the US citizen, you have to convert your US dollars into Hong Kong dollars, and then you'll be able to buy the bonds in Hong Kong. Okay, but now when you see it's less attractive, so not so many people they are going to convert the US dollars into Hong Kong dollars. So the demand of Hong Kong dollars is going to get less. So Andrew, you got the right idea. So from GCSE, when the demand for one currency is getting less, then your currency will depreciate. So that is the reason why there is depreciation pressure. Okay, you see here, it's not straightforward. It's kind of complicated. Okay, but at the end, you will get the same result. Because of that, then you will get a depreciation pressure of the home currency. And because of that, because you see depreciation, and your currency becomes weaker. So because of that, you are able to sell more exports in general. Okay, in general, right? All right. So so here, so that is the reason why less attractive for other countries to invest in your country, right? Because your return is getting less, and at the end, you are experiencing depreciation, and your net exports in general will increase because of depreciation. Okay, yeah. Now your export becomes more attractive, becomes more competitive, right? Because when the other countries they are buying your exports, they spend less. So, in other words, your exports are cheaper now. Okay, so that is right. The domestic products are now relatively cheaper, so you sell more exports, right? And when you sell more exports, think about the aggregate demand curve. So yes, that's why it is downward sloping. Yeah, and this is also one of the reasons. Okay, any questions here? So this is the detailed explanation why when the price level is changing, your BOP, or balance of payments, will change as well. Okay, so in other words, to make it more simple, when there's a fall in price level, the exports will increase in general. And if you think about this, then BOP should be improved at the same time, right? Yeah, and vice versa. When there's a increase in price level, you will see BOP might get worsen. So domestic products cheaper for exports only. Well, yeah, here we are focusing on exchange rate. Okay, we're focusing on exchange rate. Okay, because we talk about depreciation, right? Depreciation, exchange rate. We are not just talking about one country. We are talking about two, yeah, between countries. Okay, because it's exchange rate. Okay, yep. So if that's the case, then you will see, because AD, the components of AD, one of them is NX, net export. So you will see, okay, because NX is getting better because of the price level. So you will see a downward sloping. Okay, right? So in summary, you have three effects which will give you the negative relationship in your aggregate demand. Okay, yep, and vice versa. Okay, right? Yeah. So you can make this conclusion. Okay, when the price level decreases, the real output that you would like to purchase is expected to increase, and vice versa. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, the first one is quite straightforward, but when it comes to the second one and the third one, they they become more complicated. But once you know the drill, then it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. So yes. So these three effects explain why the curve is downward sloping. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you got that right. They explain why the curve is downward sloping. That's all. Okay. So now we have finished this explanation. Then we will go to the next part. Of course, we are going to talk about why sometimes the AD curve will shift. Yeah, it can shift to the right, it can shift to the left. Okay, so it's just like what you have learned in microeconomics. Okay, any factors besides the change in price level, when it happens, okay, then there will be a change in AD. So it is usually when any components of AD, something happened to those components, then there will be a shift. Okay? If there's anything happen to any AD components here, then your demand curve, your AD, is going to be shifted. Okay? Instead of moving along the curve. Right? Once again, you have to make sure you are clear for the relationship here. Okay? Yeah, about moving along the curve and shifting. Okay? When it is moving along the curve, it's because of the change in price level. Okay? So when it is shifting, then it will not be because of this, the change in price level. It will be because of, any factors happen to any component of AD. Okay? Right? So here, let me give you an exercise. So let's take a look at this. We have like 12 or 13 factors here. Okay, so you have to identify, okay, which component is being affected by the factors here. Okay, all right. Okay, so before you do that, take a look at this. So we have a factor here called wealth. Okay, but do not confuse the wealth factor. Okay, the wealth effect. Okay, that factor that we just talked about with this one. They are not the same. Okay, See, the one that we just talked about is because the change in price level, and that's why we have a change in wealth. So we feel like our wealth is more or less. Okay, but here the wealth is different. Okay, here the factor is when your wealth is changed because of some reasons. Let's say the value of some of your assets, they change. Let's say the stock price is going up. Then some of the components will be changed. Okay, so here the wealth is different. Okay, so do not confuse. Okay, do not confuse. Yeah, right. Before that one is caused by the change in price level, and that's why you have a different wealth. But this one here is because your wealth is changed by something else. Okay, so yeah. So some of the components will be changed. Okay, so now can you please identify the components, different components into different factors? Some factors they will lead to changes in more than one component. Okay, so be careful. All right, so I'll give you 5 minutes to finish this. Okay, so try to identify all of them with the AD components. So once again, if you have finished the task, can you give me a signal? Ian, that's for either one. Okay, because you're only trying to identify those four components. So yeah, so either way. Yeah, have you all finished it? Right? Because we have so many points here, so I guess I'm going to ask. Yeah, yeah. I don't think we have 16 points here, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try asking you guys one by one. Okay. So okay. All right. Have you guys done it? Done it? Okay. So let me. Oh, okay. So you see here. Look, guys. These are actually all the factors that will change the AD. Okay. These are all the factors that can change the AD. So if something happened to all those factors in the screen, then the AD will shift. Okay, the AD will shift, right? But of course, we want to understand if we have the right concept or not. So yeah, so now we are going to go through everyone very quickly. All right, so let's start it from the back. Okay, well, if you imagine you are sitting in a class, then usually from the back we have Cressida, Kirsty, and Michelle. So let's start from Cressida. Okay, Cressida, can you hear me? Hi. Hello.
Hi, hi,
Hi.
hi.
So the first point here, which one have you identified? Consumer confidence. So which AD component do you think will be affected by this factor here? So when the consumer confidence changed, which AD component will change?
See?
Yeah. Come on, be confident. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Okay, C, of course, right? Yeah. So thank you, Christina. So yes, okay. Consumer confidence, you know that. Okay, when we are more confident about the economy, confident about what we are earning, right? How we are spending. Okay, then C will increase. Okay, and vice versa. If that's the case, then the AD will shift to the left. Okay, and yeah, but if the consumers they have confidence about the economy, right? Then AD will shift. Okay. What about the second one, Kirsty?
Consumers.
Consumers. Okay. Why is that?
Like if there's an increase in their uh, income tax, then they
Okay.
would have a smaller disposable income. So
Mm-hmm.
their purchasing power would decrease and then
Okay.
they'll consume less goods.
Oh yeah. I like the answer. Okay. So thank you, Kirsty. Right? Yeah. Just like that. Just like that. Okay. When there's a change in personal income tax, right? Your consumer AD will be affected as well, right? Because it's changing your preferences when you are spending on goods and services. Okay. So what about Michelle? Michelle, what about the third one?
Investment.
Oh, investment. Okay. Can you explain it a little bit?
When there's technological advances, the firms
Yeah.
will want to buy more the machines capital so they can increase their productivity and earn more money.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, right. Yeah, just like that. Okay. So that's number three. Investment will be affected. What about number four? When there's change in government spending. Ian. Ian, are you here?
Yes, but I'm not sure if the microphone is working or it's
Oh,
not.
okay.
Because some other lessons say there will be echoes, so
Oh, no. It works. It works just
it works
fine.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So number
So-
4, what do you think?
The government.
So the government will be
Government expenditure.
okay. The government expenditure will be affected. Do you think anything else will be affected as well in this case?
Uh,
So when there's a change in government spending, but it depends on what change. Yeah, it depends on what have they done for the government spending.
Probably the consumer, because more money is flowing into the market.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Yep. So yeah. So thank you, Ian. Okay. So it really depends. Okay, if the government spending is mainly focusing on consumers, then yeah, of course we do a lot of this from the government point of view. Okay, but sometimes we do spend money as a government to some firms as well. Okay, so it can be C, I, or G in this case. Okay, but usually we will say G. Right? G is the most direct answer. But C and I, there is a possibility. Okay, yeah, for those to be affected as well. Okay, so what about number 5? Brandon. Brandon, are you here?
Hi.
Hi. Number 5. What will be
I
affected?
think it's investment.
Yeah, investment. So can you explain it?
Uh, if there is lower business confidence, they will
Mhm.
invest less in like maybe production or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, right? Because it's all about confidence. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Brandon. Okay. So yeah, that's what you have. That's what you have when business they see the maybe the economy or the industry is not in a good position. They might lose their confidence, and at the end they may just spend less on investment. So yeah, investment will be affected. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, let's move on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's move on to number 6. So number 6, Ryan. Ryan,
Hi.
hi. Number 6. What do you think?
It affects import and export mainly,
Oh, okay.
and
Anything
it
else?
kind of it kind of affects everything because
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
all about their spending behavior. So it
Oh,
affects the
okay.
consumers and investments because they might lend more and then buy more stuff,
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. That's good.
invest
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then for government, they'll spend more because the interest rate is lower.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, I
So
like the
yeah,
answer. Okay. Yeah. So very good. Yeah. Fine. Thank you. Yeah. Almost everything, right? When we talk about interest rates. Okay. So yeah, that's one good answer. Okay. And well, we still have 2 more minutes, so let's go to number 7. So when wealth, okay, of some people, is changed, what will happen? Yeah. What will be affected in terms of AD components? Rex.
Hi.
Hi. So number 7.
Consumption.
Yep. Okay. Can you give me an example?
Well, 咁你有多啲錢，你咪買多啲嘢咯。
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, true. Okay, very direct answer. Okay, thank you, Rex. Okay, yeah, yeah, let's say, right, when you have a property and the property is, the price is increasing, then you feel like, yeah, now I have earned, I become more wealthy, so I spend more. Okay, so that's the case. That's why it affects consumption, and the AD will be affected. Okay, so it will shift to the right. Okay, right? And number 8. Okay, so now I think we are in the third row. Ray, number
Uh,
8. Business
investment.
investment. Okay, quickly explain this.
So if you earn like a lower proportion of your revenue. Like
Mm-hmm.
if a lower proportion of your revenue is actually to yourself, then you will be more discouraged from spending it on investments and stuff.
Oh, okay, okay, very good. Yeah, thank you, Ray. Yep, just like that, just like that. It's very similar to personal income tax, but now we are focusing on the investment side. Okay, and okay, all right. It's 3 o'clock. Okay, so hi.
Sorry, but like, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
want to ask, like, the business tax and personal income tax, would it also affect the government because it's also part of like government revenue?
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But that will be a bit more indirectly affected. So here, we try to focus on the most direct impact to to the AD components. Okay, but you are correct. Okay, but you are correct. But at the end, you will see, as long as one of the AD components got affected, then the AD will be shifted. Okay, so at the
Okay.
end, yeah, at the end it's okay. At the end it's okay. You will
Okay.
still get the same answer. Okay, when you are trying to identify if the curve will be shifted to the right or left. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So well, yeah, mainly, yeah, Michelle, yeah, mainly affecting C. Okay, yeah, affecting C. So yeah, all right. So it's 3 o'clock, and I think I'm gonna let you go. All right. So thank you guys. Okay, we have survived for the second week. Okay,
Yay.
and yeah, we have more to go. All right, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna let you go. All right. Is there any homework I just gave you to this week? Yeah. Yeah, there's homework. Okay, so do finish the homework, and yeah, that's all. That's all. All right. I'll see you guys next week. All right. So Kirsty, um, interest rate. Oh yeah, almost everything. Okay, Kirsty. Yeah. Okay. All right. See you guys. Bye.